YouTube, what's going on, consumer reviews and DIYs here, back with another video. I knew that this day would come. Yikes! My deck is in rough shape, guys, and I really tried to prolong the life of the deck, and I wanted to at least get a few more years out of it without having to replace any of the boards. But at this condition, I think we got to do something. I noticed it. I was sitting on the deck, heard this little cracking noise, and next thing you know, my chair is attempting to go through the deck. So enough is enough. We're gonna go ahead and have to replace it, and I'm just starting with this board because this is the board that actually broke on me. And it looks like the deck as a whole, just the structure is still in good shape. If I had to count boards that are in rough shape, I would say about maybe 6 boards that really need to be replaced, like immediately. The other boards could probably make it a little bit longer. And this deck is around 12 years old. And, you know, it's the cost of, you know, doing business with wood. It is going to rot out over time. And so for this, we have a few cuts similar to what you see on this piece here. Now for pulling up the boards, we went down under the deck because the deck actually sits up a little bit. So we had enough clearance to get under the deck and then use just a standard hammer to go ahead and bang up on the wood to go ahead and, you know, get a little bit of a gap. And once we got a gap going, we then used a crowbar to just go ahead and, you know, take it off from there. Now we got the first board done, and it wasn't bad. On the one end, we did need to make a cut. And, you know, from a tools perspective, I would recommend that you have, if you can, a circular saw. It's going to be really helpful, going to make the job easier. For these type of cuts, I would recommend like a jigsaw. And if you have an oscillating tool, that'll work as well. An oscillating tool it's going to make you work a little bit harder over the course of your project, but that jigsaw is going to be really helpful. You know, so we got the second board as well. So we're just taking our time, and really we're just going board by board. The benefit to rebuilding the deck versus building a new deck is, you know, all the pieces are laid. You really just need to take the pieces up and replace them, and then make the cuts where necessary. Now this wood here, this board, is another one of those pieces that is in really bad shape. All right, so going under the deck, this is what I mentioned in terms of going under, finding a spot where you can, you know, get some leverage, and then go ahead and hitting your board from the bottom up. That way you can get a gap going, and then you can go back up top. That way you can use your crowbar, whatever type of tool you're using, to go ahead and, you know, pull your board up. See that gap that we got from doing that? That's a great way, or one of the strategies that we use to maneuver the boards out, and that's the crowbar that we use. I think that this is, I believe it's a 36 inch, but it's makes the job a whole lot easier. And then we just went through and just popped them up just like that. And since these were 16-foot boards, they are really long, and I didn't want to have wood all over the place, so I started off with using a sawzall to cut my wood up and to stack it in the piles. And then I moved over to just using a circular saw. It just was a lot smoother and made the job a lot easier. But yeah, we're moving along, just taking it a board at a time and examining those pieces where we are going to need certain cuts. You can also, you know, when you take up the wood board, you can trace that on the new piece of wood that you want. So there's a lot of benefits to rebuilding. You don't have to guess at it. You can make sure that your measurements are going to be pretty accurate. And this again is the bar that I meant. This is that I was talking about, that I was using. This is a 36 inch Irwin. Has 2 sides. This side here is what I mainly use to prop on the boards. I did use the bottom side as well, just for specific circumstances. You're not going to want to try to, especially if you have a lot of boards, use a traditional hammer for this job. You are going to want to get some type of crowbar or a tool that's going to make the job a lot easier. going back to the conversation about the tools. So the circular saw really got a lot of runs off of this tool because all of the boards, every single one, had to be cut because the boards were about 2 inches or so longer than the deck. So for the straight cuts like that, circular saw, super easy. When it came to the more specific cutouts, this is where I'm going to recommend the jigsaw. Now for these type of cuts, you can use a oscillating tool or a multi-tool, but it's going to be a lot more work if you don't have it. So again, this is where I'm going to recommend the jigsaw. Now there are a few cuts where I did use the oscillating tool because it was more convenient. So for these cuts, you can, but it is a lot more work when you are trying to get through the wood, especially a thicker piece of wood with the oscillating tool. All right, guys, we're making it through nicely. The piece of wood right against the house did give us some problems, but we made it through. We're going to be using the Metabo 21-degree round head framing nailer. It takes up to a 3.5-inch nail, but we're going to be running some 2-inch nails through it to make the job a lot easier. All right, so at this point, I would say that we're about 50% done. As you can see, I'm just kind of keeping the boards out, measuring the boards, making the cuts, and just kind of laying them out, making sure they fit. And then I can go back after the fact and then go ahead and nail them down. You know, as I stated personally, I like to just have the boards laid out, but I don't really like to nail them down until I have multiple boards to do. Just makes for better efficiency, in my opinion. Now at this point, I think we're about right around 3/4. We got those boards laying there, so we're just making cuts, making sure everything fits, especially around, you know, some of those banisters. And so this is how I kept up with my wood. I just kind of cut it up, put it to the side because those 16-foot boards are super long. So this way, again, won't cause too much of a mess. So next we're going to be working on the stairs. I've already pulled 2 stairs up, and there's a total of 6 stairs that we're going to go ahead and replace. I don't think I'm going to mess with those sides, the side pieces of wood, just the stairs, just focus on that. But the deck, the walking surface, pretty pleased with the project. Did have, again, some areas that did give me a little bit more resistance in terms of the cuts, but more, you know, for the most part, that was pretty smooth. And this is the wood that we're going to use to build out the stairs. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And if you have any, you know, perspective, any tips, any strategies that we can use if we, you know, we have to replace the deck boards again, or we're looking to replace something else on the deck, go ahead and drop your expertise and your knowledge for the community. Our YouTube, thank you for checking me out. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and comment, and I'll catch you on the next one.